This will be a much easier to understand state pension system. It will just be a single tier. It won't have the confusion of two tiers. And we also think that ultimately it will cut down in the amount of means-tested benefit that pensioners get as a result of these changes, because that money will be rolled up into the single tier pension.
But there's a but. There's always a but.
There's always a but, yes. To get from the situation we have today to the situation that will be that nice and simple and clean system is always very complicated. And that's where I think perhaps the explanation needs to be clearer. When we took evidence from the Minister, he said that the government was slightly, hands were tied because until there was proper legislation on the statute books, the government really couldn't do anything. But we thought that it was actually imperative that the government starts to explain this, even as the legislation is going through the House of Commons. And that's become even more urgent because in the budget, the Chancellor brought forward the implementation date by a year to April 2016. So we think that the people who are closest to retirement, who are closest to the group that will be the first onto the new system, really need to know what the implications are for them, because at the moment the headlines are we're going from a state pension of £107 to a state pension of £144. But of course that won't apply to everyone because it will depend on the accrued rights that they've got.
I mean, it's an awful lot of people affected by this. It's some 40 million, I think. But we're talking about a group of people who are probably more savvy in terms of what they're entitled to, what they can access than others. So is it not a case that the information is there, they just need to find it, or are you saying the government needs to be more proactive? I
think the government definitely needs to be much more proactive because the introduction of the new system means the end of contracting out. A lot of people don't know whether they've been contracted out. They didn't realise that perhaps they've been paying lower national insurance contributions because of that, and other people don't know how much they've got in the state second pension, whether through SERPs or S2P. And it's actually, if you're not within 4 months of retirement pension age, it's actually quite difficult to find out exactly what it is you would be entitled to. And the other concern we have is that the qualifying years of national insurance contributions going up from 30 to 35. And there may be people today who have decided that they're leaving work, they're not at pension age, but they think they've already accrued their 30 years national insurance contributions. That would give them a full state pension. But actually, they might come under the new system if they reach pension age after April 2016. And in fact, they haven't, because they would need 35 years. So it's to give people warning so that they're not taking decisions today that might be to their detriment because the actual legislation is about to change.